Hey, good morning, Midwest Survivor. Time for breakfast bits. So first off, I want to say thank you to everybody that's liking and subscribing to the channel. We need 50 subscribers. Be sure to click like and subscribe, click the bell, click the thumbs up, make comments, check out the community. Today's topic on breakfast bits is healthy love doesn't keep score. And this is a very personal one for me. Growing up and also in relationships, I was in relationships where scorekeeping was very, very important. You know, the gift you buy, the time you spend, the money that was spent, just the trips that were taken, the gifts that were bought, the presents that we're getting, you know, you know. And this is a very simple message, but it's very, very powerful. And I can guarantee you there's a lot of people out there in relationships that are unhealthy where there is a ton of scorekeeping. So love can feel like a competition. Relationships can feel like a constant struggle to do more, to give more, to be more, to just whatever. Every mistake is always remembered and memorialized and written down on a calendar somewhere and always brought up at the most painful and inconvenient times, dug up like a skeleton and for exhumation and then thrown in your face. Every favor becomes a debt. We did this, so now you've got to do this for us. Every disagreement turns into a list of everything that you've ever done in your entire life. And that is not love. That is control. So healthy love doesn't always remind you of what it has sacrificed for you. It doesn't say things like, after everything I've done for you, you're going to now do blank. That's guilt. That's manipulation. That's shame. You owe me. That is a big guilt one right there. You owe me. Guilt, shame, manipulation, financial abuse. You owe me. Whether monetarily, time related, or financial abuse can be more than just money. It can be time related. It can be emotionally connected. You've got to do this for me because of this. That's a transactional relationship, whether it's with time, resources, money, whatever. Remember when I helped you? Again, another form of transactional financial abuse. I did this, so now you have to do that. Another form of transactional financial abuse. Real love gives because it wants to, not because it's building a case for future leverage. And any relationship that requires leverage is an unhealthy relationship. Healthy relationships understand that both people will give more at different times. Sometimes one partner carries a heavier load because the other is struggling. Later, those roles may reverse. The reality is that one person can't carry the entire load themselves. And it's unreasonable expectations, unreasonably emotionally, unreasonable realistically, and unreasonable just in general to make one person carry all the load. One person can't work 40 plus hours a week, come home, be expected to cook dinner, take care of kids, and do everything. It takes a team. And it's about making sure every day, it's not about making sure that every day is perfect and every day is equal and every day is this. Common phrases that you also hear as well, this just isn't fair. You're doing this to me. You hear these words constantly replayed over and over again. Well, I'm sorry, life is not fair. And the realistic expectation that life is fair is delusional and unrealistic. It's not about making sure that every day is perfect and every day just goes smooth sailing with rainbows and sunshine and unicorns farting fairy dust. It's about being on the same team. Keeping score creates such resentment and anger and bitterness and hatred towards one another. When you are working together for a common goal, it creates trust. And that does not mean that healthy love ignores problems. You know, whenever problems are brought up and then the response is, well, you're just making excuses. All you see is negative. All you see is this. Sometimes it takes being honest with somebody to realize that there is stuff going on, that there are problems, that problems need to be dealt with. You know, there were times that I would talk about things and I would hear, well, all you're thinking about is the negative. You don't need to worry about that. This doesn't concern you. You're not an equal partner in our marriage. I would see problems as a child, as an adult, and I would try to vocalize them, but the people around me were more concerned with keeping control and keeping score of everything, that it minimalized those feelings. So, you know, instead of issues being buried or excused away, you know, they need to be discussed honestly, without judgment, without anger, instead of being weaponized months and years later. And forgiveness doesn't mean that pretending that something didn't happen or that nothing happened. It just means choosing not to use past mistakes as ammunition every time a conflict arises. And I've seen this constantly brought up over the years, where one of my parents, people that I was in relationship with, they would constantly bring up every stinking mistake, every mess up, everything. Every time something didn't go their way, they would bring it up as ammunition to throw in the face and just create chaos and turmoil and instability, because they were unstable themselves. So to make the other person unstable, they would constantly bring up every mistake and every foul up and constantly just throw it in the other person's face. And if someone constantly keeps a scoreboard of your failures but conveniently forgets their own, that is not a partnership. That is an imbalance. So here's the challenge for today. Think about your closest relationship. Are you keeping score? Are they keeping score? Or are you building a trust in a relationship? Healthy love and healthy relationships always ask this question: how can we resolve and get through this together and solve this issue together? Unhealthy love asks, well, you did this. You caused this. You did this. How can I prove that I'm winning? Unhealthy love doesn't want to solve problems. It just wants to win. It just wants to keep score. It just wants to come out on top. Love isn't about building arguments. Let me rephrase that. Love isn't about building and winning arguments and building a case against somebody and trying to make somebody admit their guilt or shame or whatever. It's about building a life together. So I want to say this: if this encouraged you, please like and subscribe. Share it with somebody who may be going through this, who may need to be reminded. And let me remind you one more thing. Healing starts one day at a time, one step at a time, one choice at a time. And this isn't about surviving life. This is about learning to thrive, be healthy, be wealthy, be successful. Because wealth is not just a total in a bank account. It's about a mindset and a lifestyle. So Midwest Survivor, I want you to get healthy. I want you to be healthy. I want you to stay healthy. I want you to get strong, stay strong, and be strong. I'll see you tonight for dinner chat. Have a great day and take care.